Well, hi there, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher, and you are the key person we wait for, and we long for, and we love, because you are the Take Two family. So we are sharing this topic today because I think this is something we can all relate to, we have experienced, and we titled it, Oops, I Shouldn't Have Said That. Have you ever made a statement or a comment and you're thinking to yourself, oh, dear Lord, couldn't I just rewind that? Couldn't I just, start over, erase, delete, because that did not go over well. That ever happened to you? Well, that's what we're asking. Can you tell it happened? It has happened to us. Here's the number, 833-288-3986.
Boy, oh boy, I can tell you, I think I've grown a lot in this area. Earlier in my life, I used to kind of, speak without thinking a lot more than I do now. Actually, I tend to think a lot before I speak now, just for that very reason. But yeah, there have definitely been times in my life when I have said things that I wish I hadn't said. It still happens occasionally. And what I do is I just kind of ask the Holy Spirit to sort of knock the words down, knock them to the ground before they get to the ears of the other person. But we want to hear from you, Take Two family. Have you ever uttered some words that you wish you hadn't said? It could have been in an argument with somebody. It could have been maybe revealing something that you wish you hadn't revealed or shouldn't have revealed. It could be any number of things, and then you just kind of wish that you, all of the above, check. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. We trust that you won't say anything today on the air that you wish you hadn't said, but we hope that you will call and say something because it's your show. You make it what it is every day. So come on, Take Two family. Let's take this and make it another great broadcast.
Oops, I shouldn't have said that. That's what we're discussing today. Those things that come out of our mouths before we think about them, and then we think about them afterwards over and over again, thinking, we should not have said that. I shouldn't have said that. How can I rewind this? How can I take it back? How can I apologize? Have you ever had that experience? Well, let's weigh in and let's talk about it. Let's see what it can do for our spiritual lives. Yep. We always weave in our faith life to the discussions here on Take Two. But you got to call in because Jerry and I can go back and forth and share those very embarrassing stories back and forth. And we can do that. And it could be quite entertaining. But we don't want to do that. We want to hear from you. So please dial in just like the others are doing right now. Phone lines are starting to light up. Matt Kabinski loves that. He loves to stay busy the entire hour. 833-288-3986.
Are you implying that you and I have done it enough times that we could fill the whole show with examples?
Yeah. Probably the whole day, the whole week.
Debbie, I've known you a long time. You don't say things that you wish you'd regret. I've never heard you do that. Or maybe I just didn't know it.
I've gotten better, but I will tell you, my dad used to say to all of us, think before you speak. He would say, think. I could hear him saying it. My dad has passed. He passed in 2010, but I can still hear his voice in my head. Debbie, think before you speak. It didn't always work. But Marty likes to think before he's a man of few words, but when he speaks, he does think it out. He does, give a lot of mental thought to it, and then he'll say it. I think I always try to blame it on where I grew up. In New Jersey, we tend to have no filter, and so we kind of just blurt out things, and that's not always good. And now I've learned as I've gotten older. I just turned 58, and so I think I'm better now. I've recovered.
Well, like I said, I definitely have gotten better at this, and it's very helpful. It's helpful to your own peace of mind. It's helpful to your relationships and all of that. But we're asking you, Take Two family, you don't have to remember, word for word, verbatim what you said. But has there been a time in your life, when you've uttered a few words, said something, expressed a thought, a sentiment, something like that, and then you thought, you know what, that would have been better left unstated or maybe worded differently? 833-288-3986. Matt Kubensky already screening calls. That's good to see. We have Ace McKay on the producer. He's running the board, and Jeff Burson is monitoring your chats on social media, Facebook and YouTube. Hi to those of you watching the video stream there. You can email your thoughts. Keep it rather concise if you can, so we can get it on the air at Take2 at EWTN.com. And you can post on the show website, which is Take2show.com.
Take2show.com. Yes, that is how. Okay, Take2show.com is our website, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, good, because we were getting calls about the prayer wall from our prayer shows. If you didn't get in on the prayer shows, don't worry. We have a 24/7 prayer wall going at take2show.com. So thank you, Jerry, for reminding me of that, because we're getting messages coming in from our listeners. Guys, twice a month we do the prayer shows. So, I mean, we would love to do the prayer shows every single day, but there's other topics we really need to cover. But yes, we're praying round the clock, just so you know. Okay.
Indeed, and we're praying that you will call today. We know that you probably have an experience with this, hopefully not that many. Maybe it's been a long time ago. Maybe it was recent. 833-288-3986. You are the teachers. You inspire, you edify, you bless, you encourage with your takes on this program. We learn from you, and we all want to come away, as Debbie says, a little bit better, a little bit closer to God. So the question today is, have you ever said something that you wish you hadn't said? Oops, I wish I hadn't said that. 833-288-3986 is the number. It's easier to remember maybe at 833-288-EWTN.
So if you've ever been pregnant and given birth to a child, you will know that about 2 to 3 weeks after the birth of your child, you still somewhat look pregnant. And I will tell you, we can all relate to this, those of us who have been there. And if you happen to go out to the store, people may say to you, "Oh, how far along are you?" It happened to me. It was terrible. It was terrible. But I giggled, I laughed. I said, "No, I actually just gave birth to him." It's just left over. But yeah, it's interesting. It happens sometimes. And now you don't even know what to say in this day and age. You don't know how to address people. You don't know what to say. So that's why people walk around very quiet, Jerry.
Well, nowadays, it's kind of unfortunate, but you can't even say hello, ma'am, or hello, sir, because you sometimes don't know. I mean, it's sad, but anyway, oops, I shouldn't have said that. Have you made that mistake before? 833-288-3986.
The Children's Rosary is a simple and deeply moving prayer experience where children pray and learn more about the joyful, luminous, sorrowful, and glorious mysteries of the Rosary. Visit EWTN.com/kids for more.
November is the month of All Souls, and we pray for the souls of all the faithful departed in purgatory. Many of the saints speak of our prayers for the dead as being something they really need and can benefit from. Tradition says, though the dead in purgatory can pray for us, they cannot pray for themselves, and they very much need our prayers. Throughout this month of November and throughout our lives, we owe the deceased our prayers. Join in this devotion to all souls with books for children and adults, crucifixes, prayer cards, and DVDs available at EWTNRC.com.
Here's a thought from Mother Angelica's perpetual calendar. None of us really want to be children. The Lord said only one time in the gospel. It's really frightening. He said, "Unless you become as little children, you shall not enter the kingdom of God." So in other words, you are not going to get out of purgatory until you have the love and confidence of a child. Mother's perpetual calendar features an inspirational message for each day of the year. It's available at EWTNRC.com.
Well, it's something different we talk about every day on this program, and we really appreciate and kind of depend on you to make the show what it is. And today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, we are asking the question or putting the topic out there. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Have you had that experience before? I'm going to bet that you have, maybe at some time in your life, especially if you've lived like like me, Debbie just said you just turned 58. I spell my age with a 6, so I've had plenty of chances to wish I hadn't said things. But what about you, Take Two family? 833-288-3986. We'll go right to your calls. We have a couple lines open, so please fill those up. But I want to tell you about something at the EWTN Religious Catalog, and it is definitely that time of year. I mean, the world has been putting, Christmas stuff out there for weeks, maybe even months now. But now the EWTN Religious Catalog knows that it's time to kind of kick that into gear. And they have a 10-piece ivory and gold nativity. It's a scene that recounts, of course, the birth of Christ and his adoration. The Religious Catalog has many styles from which to select. One is a 10-piece rustic gold and ivory nativity set that comes complete with the Holy Family, of course, the 3 wise men, a shepherd boy, an ox, a donkey, and a stable. It's made of resin stone mix. Each piece is hand-painted with a slightly distressed finish and elegant gold detailing. Available now at EWTNRC.com. Again, it's a 10-piece ivory and gold nativity. Free standard shipping for online orders, $75 or more in the continental United States. Just use code FREE when you check out, and be sure that you support EWTN by getting a lot of your Christmas gifts and Advent items at EWTNRC.com.
Okay, come on, you Take Two family. Let's go. You fess up. You can't be that perfect. Okay, Jerry and I admitted that we've said things that we wish we could take back. Come on, you've said some things or even thought some things, and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Or how about I shouldn't even have thought that. How about that? We'll stretch it out a little bit. 833-288-3986. And Jerry, you know how I love to say cities and towns. You know that. I love saying Walla Walla, Washington. Love it. I love to say Cheektowaga, Tonawanda. I love saying all these cities. And here's another one I can add to my list. How would you say it? Mishawaka?
Mishawaka, Indiana.
Mishawaka, Indiana, and Mary is calling in on YouTube. We are waving to you, Mary. Mary, I love your town. Welcome.
Yes, Mishawaka, Indiana, Princess City, Mishawaka.
Oh, nice.
We're right down the road from Notre Dame. So, this conversation couldn't have been any better for me today because yesterday was kind of a wild ride for my husband and I. We're going to be married 50 years in June. But I have a tendency to be controlling and, tell him what to do. And if he doesn't get it right, I'm not very supportive. And this morning I was praying and realizing, that I need to be an encourager. I need my words to encourage. And I remembered when we had been on a silent retreat, which that's a whole other thing, which is very good for couples, that I had read Psalm 141. And verse 3 came to my mind. And it's, set a guard over my mouth, O Lord. Keep watch over the door of my lips. So this has been my prayer today, and it's going on the blackboard in our home so that it's a reminder for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good reminder, really, for all of us, Mary. So thank you so much for calling in. And you said something I think I just want to zero in on. You said, our words need to encourage. And the Bible is full of examples. I think the book of James talks about how the powerful the tongue is, the good that it can do, the damage that it can do. And really, it's amazing. Something as simple as a few words can change the world, really, when you think about it. But it can change us. It can change other people. It can change our relationships. So I think your call, you said the show is timely. I think your call is a timely reminder as well, Mary, today. What do you think, Deb?
So I agree. Mary, thank you so much for calling in. We love the Psalms. Jerry and I love the Psalms. We love Proverbs. We've done shows on it. Absolutely. A couple things I wanted to just share. We are both life coaches, and we really believe in the power of words. And you said, your husband or somebody said, a bit controlling or whatever, and you've got to be more encouraging. An encourager. I totally agree with that. And I think that I would also change the word controlling and just say maybe you're a director or something of that nature, because I think sometimes we women, we get labeled that as controlling when we really think 10 steps down the road. A lot of women in general can do that. And I think that's part of a God-given gift that he gives us women. And that doesn't make us necessarily controlling all the time, but it does make us kind of direct things because we know the outcome of things. So we do believe in the power of words, very important. Scripture tells us that, and you're right to meditate on Scripture and the Psalms. And also, too, in life coaching, we have life words, the words that give life, and words that are really death words. They're really limiting words, and they're not of God. And we're a firm believer in cleaning up the vocabulary in that area of always communicating life-giving words. And that's why a lot of the Take Two family, they say to us, you and Jerry are so nice. You're so friendly. You're so welcoming. Well, it's also because we try to practice that, and it's really important. And we believe in that. And so, Mary, what you're saying, I think you're affirming that. What do you say?
Well, I think so. As I said, the topic couldn't have been more apropos for me this morning. And I will just keep trying. And I like the idea of being a director.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I tell my husband that all the time when he says, you're controlling. And I say, no, I'm a director. And he goes, oh, that sounds pretty good.
I think he'll come on board with that too.
Okay, good. If not, you can have him call Marty, okay? And happy anniversary to you.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys
Praise
have
God.
a wonderful and blessed day.
You too. Thank you, Mary.
Thanks,
what a
Mary.
milestone, 50 years of marriage.
That's
Praise God.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. We have an open phone line. Mary just freed up a phone line. So the title of our show today is Oops, I Shouldn't Have Said That. So we need you to weigh in. Come on, you guys. We need your experience on this. 833-288-3986. And we've had a couple international calls or some comments. So keep calling. This is your show, a safe platform for us to come together and to share our lived experiences. We grow in wisdom, we grow in knowledge, and we get a little bit closer to God because we weave in our spirituality. I love it. It works.
Indeed. 833-288-3986. We understand some of the topics we put out there can be, require us to maybe fess up to something every now and then. But that's okay because we do a little inventory of our lives and we hopefully improve ourselves. And you're definitely going to be helping other people with your call today. So let us know if there's been a time you wish you had reeled in some words that were already out. Or thought, as Debbie said. 833-288-3986. Okay, we have a first-time caller, and it's Karen in Connecticut listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Karen.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yeah. So when I heard about the subject matter, oops, I shouldn't have said that. I thought of this that happened years ago. That stayed with me. Okay, so I went in my bank, and the teller, I've seen her before and stuff. I don't know what. For some reason, I was thinking that she was pregnant. She seemed obviously pregnant because of her belly. And so I said, so when are you expecting? And she said to me, I'm not pregnant. I was so embarrassed. I apologize. I was horrified that I vowed never, ever, ever again presume or say anything about something that you could be wrong about. And I was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. I feel the same way, Karen. I've done it too, Karen, just so you know, when you're just so sure that you're staring at a pregnant person, right, a mother right in front of you, you're looking at her and you're saying, okay, she's definitely pregnant. She's wearing maternity clothes. You can see the baby bump, everything. And then I've even said, no, don't do it, Deb, don't do it. And, sometimes I'm right that they were pregnant. Sometimes they weren't. And so it's really an interesting situation, but I think it happens to all of us. And I was on the receiving end of it after I gave birth to my first child. I just think it happens, but we roll with it. I mean, do you think she really was that affected by it, Karen? I don't think so.
Well, I hope not, because I just felt so bad. But it's a lesson that you really shouldn't jump to conclusions about many things that we always, well, I know I do. I tend to jump to conclusions or I presume something, and I could be way off base. So
yeah.
Got to stop doing stuff like that.
Well, Karen, if it makes you feel any better, may I please share something? And I didn't even share this with Jerry yet. Recently, I was at the bank, and I go there all the time. And there was a new teller at the bank, and looking at the person, I thought for sure it was she was a female, and it wasn't. I guess, and it was horrible. It was a terrible encounter because I didn't address them properly, I guess, and they responded, harshly, and then it was awkward. I couldn't wait to get out of the bank. I don't know if I'll ever go there again. Seriously, but the same thing, right, Karen? You don't know because you're making an assessment and you're going, okay, they look like, a female, or they look like a male, or they look like they're pregnant, or they're not pregnant, or they look like they're, and then you just, naturally just think that, and you're being innocent about it. But in this day and age, in the world we live in, things they're not always what they look like. What do you say to that, Karen?
Oh, yes, that is so true. Yep, they're not always as they appear.
And the intention is good. You're actually wanting to compliment somebody and wish them well and be kind to them. And sometimes it just isn't the way it appears, like you said.
Yeah. You can get mortified, though, real easily. Because it does embarrass you, and then you don't know what to say. And then when you try to say something to apologize over that, it makes matters worse.
Those words usually come out more awkwardly than the first ones.
Exactly.
Karen, thank you so much. Call again. You're a first-time caller today, but never will be again. God bless you. Thanks for joining Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Have you had that experience before? Maybe it was right on the spot that you recognize that, like we've been talking about, or maybe it was after reflection, maybe after a few hours or a few days or something, you were just thinking to yourself, well, you know what, that I should have handled that a little bit differently. Maybe it was how you handle a certain situation with words and actions. Share with us how that maybe helped you become a better person. 833-288-3986.
So Matt Kabinski sent this in, and this is a good point. But Matt, I gotta share something. It's interesting that Matt shared this. He said that maybe get some clues from how a person handles their own body. Like if a pregnant woman is gently caressing her tummy or something, or holding her tummy. Obviously, she's holding probably her baby inside her womb, right? As a pregnant woman, but. That is, I would say, normally that is true. Being, having been pregnant twice, that is true. However, I thought that one time, Jerry. In fact, we were together, Jerry, at a restaurant. I think it was in Washington State when we were doing Sacred Heart Radio's pledge drive. We were at a restaurant. I don't know if you remember. And the gal kind of leaned over the table. She was the server, and she was kind of rubbing her belly, and I thought, oh, she must be pregnant, and she was just heavy. Remember? And that was embarrassing. So you never really know. You can't be sure if, so what do you do? And then maybe they want the attention for you to notice if they are, and then if you do, and then they're not, it's a mess. I go back to Marty, just don't say anything.
Well, I would say my, especially in the later years of my life, my practice has been to hold words in. I maybe think to say something, and you know what? The reality is, if you say something, it could be right or wrong. If you don't say anything, it's never wrong.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's true. That sounds like Marty again, my husband. I'm telling you, he never gets in trouble. I always get in trouble, and he never gets in trouble. He's so, and then he just looks at me and he kind of rolls his eyes and he laughs, But I take it for the team. It's okay. And one of us has to say it. Or do you ever have that cartoon bubble over your head where you're thinking something and you want to say it so badly that you just feel like you're going to burst?
Yeah, right.
Can you tell folks that we've been through this?
We're going to get to more of your calls in a moment. Matt Gabensky is screening calls. We have actually a couple lines open right now. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Have you had that experience of saying something that maybe right there on the spot even before the other person reacted, you might have just been sort of caught yourself and said, that would have been better left unsaid. Or maybe, like I said, it was something you thought about and pondered and maybe realized some days or hours afterwards. 833-288-3986.
How about this, Jerry? Have you ever said anything on air that you wish you could have taken back?
I'm sure I have. Yeah. 43 and a half years of being on the radio. Yeah.
I remember one time I was on a pledge drive and I said something, I can't remember, but there was a priest in the studio and we were saying something and it just didn't come out right. And I said, okay, Father, just let me rewind and say it over again. He started laughing.
Well, the thing about being in radio, there's a saying, and it's often put up on the wall in on-air control rooms. If you don't want it on the air, don't say it in this room. And I have said things not knowing the mic was live before. And that's, that goes way back to my disc jockey days when I was, in my early 20s. But anyway, that's for another time. 833-288-3986.
This is Life Issues with Brad Mattis, president of Life Issues Institute.
We had a significant pro-life victory this week. The American Medical Association fought back multiple efforts to drop their opposition to euthanasia. The first resolution would have changed their opposition of euthanasia to supporting it. When that failed, they tried to make the AMA neutral on the issue, but that also failed. Both of these resolutions would have changed the terminology of physician-assisted suicide and euthanasia to the euphemism used by Canada, medical aid in dying. It makes the killing of a physician's patient sound less ominous than it really is. The AMA is aggressively pro-abortion and rejects any protections for the unborn through pregnancy. So we truly thank God for this victory, but physicians must be ever vigilant because the pro-death side won't give up.
Follow us on social media at Life Issues Institute.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
One time somebody said to me, why don't you air these people? And I said, no, because I don't think they're Catholic. He says, by what right do you have to say that? I said, I own the network.
Mother Angelica Live Classics. Every morning, 2 Eastern, on EWTN Radio.
Journey deeper in your understanding of the Eucharistic mystery and the Eucharistic story of God's love for us. Download the free ebook, The 12 Stations of the Most Holy Eucharist, at EWTN.com/Catholicism.
Hi, this is Dr. David Anders. Do you have questions about the Catholic faith? Get the answers on Call to Communion, coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Oops, I shouldn't have said that. That's what we're titling the show today. That's what we're discussing today. Those awkward, embarrassing moments where we blurt out something. We wish we could take it back. In fact, as soon as it leaves our mouths, we go, oh, no, this isn't going to go well. So we want to hear from you. 833-288-3986. And we are getting messages from the Take Two family. They said, you guys are saying that we're very entertaining today. Thank you very much. This is how we always act. Well, actually, no. I've been up since 3 this morning. I'm co-hosting Annunciation Radio's Pledge Drive. So when I get up at 3 in the morning, I'm a bit punchy by the time we do the Take Two show.
I just thought of one from my high school days. And Debbie in Pennsylvania, hang on, I just have to just take a second.
Tell me.
We were playing, I was on the junior varsity basketball team. We were playing one of our rivals. We were getting beat. The game was getting down to the end. We had several technical fouls called on our team during the game. And the referees just happened to run right in front of me. And this was my younger mouth, how it would have said things. Hey, ref, there's 10 seconds left. Plenty of time to call one more. And guess what he did? He called one more technical foul on me.
On you? Were you kicked out of the game?
The coach wasn't happy. I was on the bench, actually. The coach wasn't happy. Oh. Hey, ref, there's 10 seconds left. Plenty of time to call one more.
And you got in trouble.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Did you ever play again? Were you benched forever?
I was on the bench all the time.
You became the water boy?
Mhm.
That's hilarious. I can't believe I've never heard you be like that. Were you just mad?
Yeah, well, like I said, that was the younger me. I
Oh, the
tended to
younger
have
you.
kind of a runaway mouth when I was younger.
Oh,
I've
gotcha.
really learned to approach things differently.
You matured.
Yeah, you might say that. Got wiser. Yeah.
Got wiser. Okay, so Debbie's up next. Love the name. In Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, JMJ Radio. Your city must be full of a lot of festive stuff, correct, Debbie?
Oh, I'm sorry, couldn't hear that. What was that?
Is it Hollidaysburg? So you must have a lot of festive things happening with a city like that.
Yes, they do. They do. They don't find it hard to find a reason to celebrate something.
Good.
Oh, I love that. I'm moving to your city then. Okay, so tell us, did you do anything embarrassing or were you on the receiving end of anything like that?
Well, yes, and yes. But what I wanted to share today is recently I had a chance to spend time with an elderly aunt, and it was just a wonderful time. And one of the things I wanted to hear from her were old stories of memories of her childhood and time with my mom and so on. And in doing that, I realized we touched on some things in her memories that caused her some angst, some sadness, and even though it didn't start out to be that, it went sideways pretty quickly. And I was sharing this with a friend, and she said how important it is to always pray, no matter what situation we're walking into. And she shared with me something that she prays, which is, Blessed Mother, guide me in the way to walk and give me the words I should talk. And I thought, if I had done that, maybe I could have averted something that I certainly didn't mean to end up being a sad situation. So just, I guess it was just a lesson in, again, calling on our Lord for guidance in even the most, even when we think we've got this, what could possibly go wrong?
Right.
You know?
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it kind of makes me think of another thing, Debbie, that I like to do, and that is just sort of pause for a moment, when I'm in a conversation. And I agree with you, Debbie, in Pennsylvania, the praying beforehand, pray to our guardian angels, to help us in conversations, the Holy Spirit, the Blessed Mother, like you said. But I think even just a short pause, just to sort of process what somebody has just said, and as you're going along in a conversation, and then the importance of listening too, I think, has become very key in how I like to approach different conversations. But Debbie Georgiani, you might have something.
Well, no, what you said is so important, Jerry, about listening, and that's also in life coaching. That's one of the first things you learn when you get certified as a coach, is to really listen and to hear what they're saying and to repeat back to them, and then also ask permission to go any further and ask questions like, if I proceed any further, or we talk about this in depth, is it going to bring up any thoughts for you, or is it going to hurt you in any way, or traumatize you in any way if you talk about certain topics? You always ask permission ahead of time. And if a person gives permission and they say, no, I'm okay, then you're free to really express. I mean, they gave you permission to go deeper, and so you don't have to feel bad if something brings up old wounds or something like that. So I don't know if that can also help in the future, Debbie, but I agree with Jerry, praying to the Blessed Mother, asking the Blessed Mother to help. Absolutely. Guardian angels, for sure. They will always help with our words if we ask them to, or at least give us the thoughts to think about things before we speak. And so, yeah, I totally agree. But in coaching, if you ask permission, then you can go to those harder places. Otherwise, you can actually re-traumatize people on some level when you discuss certain things that you think are safe and they're really not, because a person has lived through something that's really traumatic. What do you say to that, Debbie?
Yeah, I think just being more, I think I just went into it naively and blindly and thinking, I just wanted to hear stories, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just a reminder that the devil can get anywhere he wants to sometimes and make a good thing turn out not the way you were hoping it would.
Right, right. But then in that case, you always go back to your initial intention. And if your intention was, not to hurt or harm and just to, maybe carry on a conversation or even find out some things or whatever, the intention was good. Everything can get twisted in a bad way just by our human condition, so it can happen. We don't even realize it sometimes. But if our intention is good, then we're cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar to that. Debbie in Pennsylvania, I think, and for this, did you say it was your aunt? I think you were talking to.
Yes.
Yeah, and for her, I mean, you wanted to give her a real blessing, a real beautiful experience because, elderly people often don't have people to talk to, and they like to tell the stories of their lives and their relatives and their experiences. And I think that just helps them in a lot of different ways. So absolutely, your intention was right on. And I just really applaud you for wanting to engage in that conversation as you did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both for everything.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Debbie, she left. Okay, I was just going to ask her. She hung up so quickly. I was going to ask her middle name. I found out that when you're named Debbie or Deborah, the tendency is to have a short middle name. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I found that out recently.
Really?
My middle name is Ann. You didn't ask me,
With
but
the
I told
E or
you.
with I knew it was Ann.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
without the E, right?
Without the E. Yeah, it's even shorter. But
But you're a Deborah, right?
Deborah, yeah. So it could be Deborah Lynn. There's a lot of Deborah Lynns. There's a lot of Deborah Anns. So I didn't realize that that's very common. Just if there's any other Deborahs out there, you can confirm that if you'd like to call in.
833-288-3986. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. We're talking about today times when we may have made a comment and said something that we wish wouldn't have gotten beyond the door of our mouth. 833-288-3986. All right, Jimmy is in Houston listening on the Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for waiting. Welcome.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Well, my story's kind of similar to the story you shared, Jerry, about playing basketball as a kid. I was 14. I was playing baseball. I was on a new team. I was trying to impress everybody, and the game was passing me by, so to speak. So I was up to bat, and I struck out looking. I thought it was low, and as I was walking away, I didn't think the umpire would hear me. I said, "That was below my knees," and I inserted a certain word in there that you can't say. And he heard it, and he threw me out in front of everybody. My dad was there. It was a travel baseball game, and the umpire came up to my coach. He said what I said. He told my dad what I said. And so I was thrown out, and instead of driving me away from the game, my dad made me stay to the end of the game. It was one of the most embarrassing things. Anyway, that's something I wish I didn't say.
Mm-hmm. What did you learn from that, Jimmy? I mean, like immediately after that, how has this maybe played some sort of a role in your maturation in your life?
Well, I never forgot it.
Yeah.
I always remember that moment. I've always been losing has been tough in sports. So I suppose I've learned to hold my tongue. When you don't hold your tongue once, it's harder to hold your tongue the second time and the third time. So it's a chain effect.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me of something else, too. When I was playing Little League, I got in trouble with the umpire for something I didn't say. He came over to our dugout, and I was a catcher, and he said, the other players are saying, how you used to say, hey, batter, 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 hey, that swing. You could say that. That was within the rules. But he came over and he said, you're saying to the batters, hey, batter, batter, pitcher's going to hit you. He's going to hit you. And I said, I didn't say that. I started crying. I was sobbing. I never would have said something like that. So they were telling stuff about me that wasn't
Wow.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not true.
I've recovered from that, though.
You did?
Yeah.
After years of therapy?
Yeah. That was 50 years ago.
Yeah. Well, wait, I want to ask a question, Jimmy. I'm a little confused. Help me out here. I did play sports before I got shorter, but I played a lot of golf, so I went into golf. But Jimmy, let me ask you a question. So you said you got thrown out. Why did you stay? Your dad made you stay? So what'd you do? Just sit there and look at everybody for the whole rest of the game?
Well, yeah, you're not allowed to sit in a dugout. So my dad, instead of kind of walking me to the parking lot, he made me sit in the stands and support my team through the rest of the game. So I had to sit and I had to watch, and so it was very embarrassing. It was early in the game too, so it was a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to stew in my bad decision for a while.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you get in trouble too afterwards? I'm just curious.
I don't remember my dad really saying much. He was more quiet.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to. That's true. One of the other parents came up to me. I think he was trying to make me feel better. He goes, "Yeah, I think you're like the third or fourth person I would expect to do that." And I said, "Well, there's 11 people on the team. Is that supposed to help me?" But yeah, I don't remember my dad really being too hard on me, like you said. It was
Yeah, some lessons can be taught without words.
Yeah.
And you definitely had that opportunity. Yeah.
Is your dad still with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So
is.
tell him I think he's a cool dad. I think that was cool, the decision he made. If it was my dad, he would have dragged us by the uniform into the car and we would have heard it all the way home.
I don't know which one would be worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather sit in the stands and just pretend like I'm watching.
Thanks, Jimmy. Great
Thanks,
contribution
Jimmy.
to the program today.
Yeah, I love that. His dad sounds really cool.
Yeah.
What a cool dad.
Well, yeah. I mean, and parental lessons that they want to teach kids can be taught in a lot of different ways, with words, with with just a look sometimes, as we know.
Yeah. My dad was my caddy sometimes for some of my tournaments. And other players in golf would throw their clubs when they got mad. They would throw it and they would hit people with their clubs, throw it and then the club would bounce and then it hit somebody. And my dad said one time when he was my caddy, he said, "Do me a favor. Don't you ever throw a club if you get mad." And he gave me that look and I said, "Okay."
Clubs are
I never
expensive.
did. Huh? Well, not only that, you can break your clubs and they are expensive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Anyway, just thought I'd share that since you're sharing your sporting days. Okay, so should we go to Ozzy?
Yeah.
In Fargo, North Dakota on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Ozzy.
Hi, how are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I just, you guys reminded me of a story. This was probably about 20 years ago. I used to work at a big box store here in Fargo, and we had a motto, take care of the customer, always find out what they're looking for, how can you help. And I walked around the corner of an aisle, and I thought I saw two ladies there. One was kind of bending over, looking at some stuff below, and right out of my mouth just came out, "Ladies, what can I help you with today?" And
the guy.
The person that was leaning over was a dude. He was absolutely a guy. And, I mean, full out, long, beautiful hair, by the way. But needless to say, it was a guy, and I turned red. And they started laughing, both of them. They were so nice about it. They let me off the hook, and they said, "Don't worry, we get it all the time." And it just taught me never to assume anything.
Yeah.
But definitely reminded me of just, I don't know. It was a funny story, but yet it did teach me to assume nothing.
Yeah. Well, that was good though, the good recovery, Ozzy, where you said beautiful hair. You know, that's true. Because my older son, he had the most beautiful hair and I let it grow a little longer in the back. And people would say all the time, "Oh my goodness, your daughter's hair is so beautiful." And I'd say, "Isn't it?" And I would play with his hair and he'd go, "Mom, stop doing that." But he had beautiful hair. So, you know what? They should be grateful God gave them a nice head of hair, right?
Absolutely. I have cousins that have long hair. Did not even think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Jesus had long hair, right? And when you see pictures of Jesus, most of the artists, but those are artists, pictures. But didn't they have longer hair back in those days?
I'm sure some people did. Yeah.
I don't know. We should find that out. Any of our people listening who know that about that time and day. But Ozzy, you're awesome. Anything else?
No, just thank you guys for what you do. Enjoy listening to you.
Thank you.
Keep up God's work.
Thank you. Great to know you're there, Ozzy, and all the rest of the Take Two family. Thanks for being part of the broadcast today.
Yes, absolutely. We love the Take Two family. You are the family we want to hang out with, right, Jerry?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Jerry, we're getting also on social media, folks are writing in saying that it's a common occurrence these days to say things that you wish you could take back. And it's probably the world we live in. We live in a kind of a strange world where we're not sure what's proper, what's not proper, what's appropriate to say. And so it's going to happen. Maybe people should just get a thicker skin, I say.
Maybe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I want to quickly mention another program, Women Made New with Kristalina Everett, Saturday afternoons at noon Eastern Time, right here on EWTN Radio. Women Made New, it's real talk from Kristalina and her guests on Catholic marriage and family in the 21st century. And the book, Women Made New, Reflections of Adversity, Transformation, and Healing, is available now at EWTNRC.com.
Okay, Angel in Albany, Georgia on WTOA is up next. Hi, Angel.
Hi, how are you?
Great. I love your name.
Oh, thank you. You can blame my aunt for that.
Oh, yeah?
Why is that? Is your aunt would just loved angels?
Well, my aunt is 14 years older than I am, so when I was born, and I'm her only niece, and somebody asked me what she thought of me, and she said, "Oh, she's a little angel," and the name stuck.
Oh,
how beautiful.
I love that. I think that's precious. Wow. So tell us, have you ever said anything you wish you could take back?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a police officer, and about 7 or 8 years ago, I was at my desk and the phone rings, and it's this guy with this deep baritone voice. And he's telling me about this problem he's having with his neighbors. And I'm trying to assist him. And he then gives me a lot more information than I needed. He was a Vietnam-era combat veteran, retired Marine. We've got a Marine base here in town. So, I have a picture in my head of what a Marine is like. Well, then he tells me he identifies as a woman, and he dresses as a woman. Mm-hmm. And so I kept calling him sir, and every time I said sir, he would correct me. Mm-hmm. So the only way that I could remember to call him sir was to call him Miss, like Miss Bobby, or, because his name is Bobby, but Miss Bobby. And I just hated it.
Wow. That is really, that can be a tough situation. Okay, so I have a remedy for it. Are you ready for it, Angel?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to ask you this question first. What age range are you in? You don't have to give me your age, but age range, because I'm 58. I'll just tell you up front.
I'm a little older than you.
Oh, wow. You sound way younger, just to let you know. Okay. So it's true. You really do. Okay. So Angel, this is what my mother said before she died, and it works in the world we live in. So my mother said, now I don't know if you can do this because you're a police officer, but when you're on duty, but when you're off duty, my mother said, when you get to be over 50 years old, she said, everybody can kind of be your child, right? You can be your child. So just call everybody sweetheart. And I do. And it works. Male, female, it works. What do you say, Angel?
Well, being brought up in the South, and I went to Catholic school, and it was always ma'am and sir, or yes sister, or yes father, and it's just a habit I don't break.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Growing up in the South. Yeah, it works for me in Arizona. As a matter of fact, it's kind of made some of these younger kids, they actually are really nice. Some of them said, "Can you be my mom?" Seriously, it's kind of fun. Angel, thank you so much for the work you do, protecting all of us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. God bless you. Keep you safe on your job there. Very good. We're going to get to Tiffany in Niagara Falls on the New York side, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, can you hear me?
Very well.
Sorry, it's actually Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Oh, Ontario. Okay, good.
Yes, Canada, on the other side. So I was thinking about it as I was listening. This is actually the first time I've listened to 1.7. And it's extremely inspiring. I'm driving about 25 minutes back and forth to my home each way, and I'm thinking to myself when I'm listening to your channel, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? This is great. It's not something that's piercing my ears. Mm-hmm. So, long story short, things I may have regretted saying been to my children. I have a 25-year-old, 23-year-old, 21-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a new 16-month-old. I'm 45 years old. I was diagnosed with lymphoma cancer about 5 years ago and was given 5 years. Mm. I had said a lot of things to my children that I shouldn't have had said, and with my new baby, I want to obviously try to make things right with my words and actions, of course. So, I'm now a born-again Christian. I'm also cancer-free.
Beautiful.
And like I said, I have a new baby unexpectedly 17 years later. So I'm just watching my words.
Well, and Tiffany, thank you so much for listening. By the way, the Canada side of Niagara Falls is so beautiful. I love it. Love, love, love it. You live in a little slice of heaven. But Tiffany, you've been given that chance in life to learn so much going through lymphoma. And I've had cancer twice, so I can relate. And each day is a brand new day. We have a lot of saints in the Catholic Church that talk about each day is a chance to begin anew, begin again. And you can do that. And I know memories are hard to erase and feelings and wounds and hurts, but you can always keep going. And each day is where God is in the present. And it's so important. And I love, you can hear it in your voice. You're a thriver and you've got that new baby and it's all good because it's all looking ahead. I hope you continue to listen to the program, Tiffany. You're just a beautiful member of the Take Two family now.
Thanks, Tiffany. Real quick, I remember when I was hosting Catholic Answers Live, we did the kids Q&A program.
Yes.
A very bright young caller named Alex called in and made some amazingly mature comments. And I got the inspiration. I said, Alex, have you ever considered being a priest? Alex said, I'm a girl. It's probably Alexandra or Alexandra.
Alexa.
Alex, yeah, Alex was short.
Alexandra, yeah.
That was another moment when I don't wish I had taken that back because I love to encourage vocations. So
there you go. There you go, Jerry. You stick to it.
Kid.
Okay. Are you a dog or cat person? We're going to have a surprise with tomorrow. I just can feel it because I might switch to a cat person tomorrow. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. Stand Tall is now offering advanced group coaching sessions with master coaches highly trained in life skills. Visit Stand Tall